Hello, my name is Tony Dong. Blackburn bashes Trump. This current trend needs to stop. Longtime Trump supporter says of President's tweets. U.S. Rep. Marshall Blackburn, the pride or shame of Williams and County depending on whom you ask, has been on the Trump train from early on in the Republican primary. She may not have been the first Tennessee congressional delegate to jump aboard that would-be Rep. Scottish journalist, but she was on board early enough to be asked to speak at the Republican National Convention, and on the same night Donald Trump formally accepted the Republican nomination for president. Since Trump's election and throughout the innumerous subsequent gaffes, horrors and insanity of his presidency, Blackburn has continued to defend Trump in press statements, on the House floor and on television. But much to Pith's surprise, even Blackburn has a breaking point, and it is apparently Trump insulting a woman about plastic surgery. Maybe it finally hits too close to home. In case you somehow missed it, on Thursday morning Trump tweeted, "Of course, Morning Joe host Mika Brzezinski was not actually bleeding, nor had she had a facelift. She had a small amount of skin under her chin tucked, and according to her account in Vanity Fair, Trump actually wanted to know who her plastic surgeon was, because he thought it looked so great." But the grossness and the rudeness of the tweet sparked yet another controversy and have caused top Republican leaders to criticize the president. And on Friday afternoon, that list grew to include Blackburn. She posted a lengthy screed on Facebook specifically calling on Trump and, well, a few others. This week's inappropriate and pointless tweets from the president are a stark example of just what's gone wrong in our political discourse today. Robust yet civil debate over policy disagreements have taken a back seat to thin-skinned and knee-jerk reactions to hyper-partisan comments and, unfortunately, unfounded character attacks. On the day Rep. Steve Scalise and others were shot, seemingly for nothing other than being Republican, not only were we reminded of the consequences of a collapse in civil discourse, but many, including me, renewed our commitment to unity and called for a return to the respectful and civil disagreements that have shaped debate and the political landscape since the birth of our great nation. Our nation and the cause of freedom have been well served by robust and spirited debate. In this era of 24/7 worldwide news, the President of the United States represents each and every one of us on the world stage. Globally, the President is America, and in this day and age, actions are seen by more and more people and scrutinized more and more intensely around the world. We are right to expect a higher level of civility, graciousness, and diplomacy from our President. We expect the individual who holds the office and the title to rise above the hubris and noise of the day. While the President is human, and fallible like the rest of us, this current trend needs to stop. This week's tweets were a step way too far, regardless of what personal exchanges or insults have been hurled. From healthcare to immigration to trade, to infrastructure to terrorism, there are far too many pressing issues facing this country for petty squabbles to be on the President's radar. I respectfully request, Mr. President, that you turn your focus to the issues we are working on in Congress, the positive solutions we are trying to get to your desk to make America great again. You are delivering on your promises, as are we. Let's talk more about those and less about one another. People would be grateful. No matter who you are, President of the United States, a cable news anchor, plumber, lawyer, welder, doctor, bombast and ratings should not rank higher than our shared desire to live freely in this country alongside our fellow Americans. We are blessed to live in a country where we are free to express our opinions, no matter how inflammatory or hyperbolic. As a legislator, I work daily to protect those freedoms. But we ought also to remember that we are all a part of a greater humanity, and that civility in our interactions, both personal and digital, is not only proper, but fundamental to a respectful and prosperous society. All emphasis ours. While most of the post is not a direct attack on Trump, it's an attack on cable news, a Breitbart and, oh, Hey, the kind of rhetoric Blackburn herself has been known to use at times. It's still remarkable that one of the most stalwart Trump supporters has finally had enough of his tweeting just 6 months into the presidency. It's not like Trump has changed one whit since the campaign, but maybe Blackburn was so blinded by the thought of Republican power that she refused to see that civility is not a trait Trump ever has or ever will possess. In any case, Blackburn's message to Trump is not going to make any kind of difference. On Saturday morning, Trump tweeted an insult to former Fox anchor Greta Van Susteren, again blasted CNN, complained about the state secretaries of state including Tennessee's Tahajit who are refusing to go along with his attempt to pretend voter fraud exists, and finally posted this doozy of an apology to Brzezinski and her co-host and fiancé Joe Scarborough, whom he might have also attempted to partially extort over a National Enquirer story outing their relationship. Is this who you campaign for, Marsha? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Thank you for watching. For the follow-up, subscribe to the channel yourself here. Lisa Murkowski, Alaska, another skeptic of the GOP health bill, tweeted, "Stop it. The presidential platform should be used for more than bringing people down." Conservative commentator Laura Ingraham sent out a tweet chastising the White House's message discipline today. All Combs coming out to WHSHDB focused on Kate's Law and no sanctuary for criminals act, not cable TV hosts. GOP strategist Rick Tyler, a former communications aide to Texas Sen. Ted Cruz's White House bid, told Politico that Trump's tweets have zero benefit and criticized the administration's defense of them as childish. Republicans will arrive at the 2018 elections with absolutely no accomplishments and nothing to run on, Tyler said. In order to effect large-scale public policy change through legislation, you have to have a communication strategy to convince the country that the direction you're going is somewhere they'd like to go. While Trump's attack on Thursday morning provoked a big response, the Morning Joe hosts have a notorious love-hate relationship with the president. During the 2016 campaign, Trump was a frequent calling guest to the show and as recently as March retained Joe Scarborough's advice on matters before addressing Congress. But the MSNBC show has also faced criticism for being too cozy with the administration. In a Vanity Fair report from May on the co-host's recent engagement, the couple acknowledged meeting with the president more than a week after his inauguration, where Trump reportedly suggested they have their wedding at Mar-a-Lago or the White House. According to Scarborough, Trump even suggested he could be the one to marry them. Scarborough and Brzezinski have since become increasingly critical of the president, and Trump has repeatedly attacked them on Twitter, but Thursday's messages marked a new low. Brzezinski responded to Trump shortly after his tweets on Thursday with her own post of a Cheerios box detailing a child and the slogan "Made for Little Hands," a seemingly pointed reference to the campaign trail during which Trump's hand size was often targeted. MSNBC, meanwhile, was direct and unsparing in its criticism. It's a sad day for America when the president spends his time bullying, lying and spewing petty personal attacks instead of doing his job, an MSNBC spokesperson said, echoing a similar sentiment from the organization's spokesman Mark Kornbly, who tweeted that he never imagined. "I would think to myself, it is beneath my dignity to respond to the President of the United States." It was not immediately clear what specific comments set off the Twitter attacks this morning, but Brzezinski did hit the president this morning on lying and destroying the country. Nothing makes a man feel better than making a fake cover of a magazine about himself, lying every day and destroying the country, Brzezinski said in reference to a Washington Post report that alleges a fabricated Time magazine cover photo featuring Trump is hanging in at least 5 of his golf clubs. Also, on Tuesday's episode of Morning Joe, Brzezinski and Scarborough went back and forth on Trump's hand size and his onslaught of media-focused tweets of late. "That's a very small person," Brzezinski said. I work in cable news and I can't tell you that's sad, pathetic. Think bigger, Scarborough countered, adding that while the worst healthcare strategy ever rages, Trump's talking about the media. Keep on being small, Brzezinski said. Tiny. That's the word, Scarborough corrected. On the campaign trail, the president was often criticized for his treatment of women, most notably after the infamous Access Hollywood tape in which Trump can be heard bragging about sexually assaulting women. And in a bizarre moment on Tuesday, while on the phone with Ireland's new Prime Minister, Trump called forward an Irish journalist to comment on her smile. Despite the furore around his tweets on Thursday, Trump did get some support outside of the White House. Fox News primetime host and frequent Trump defender Sean Hannity tweeted various links to Morning Joe-related coverage. Maybe liberal Joe should stop calling the POTUS a schmuck, a liar, a thug and mentally unhinged. Were they kissing POTUS acid Xmas? Yes, he tweeted. Sen. Richard Shelby Arala also appeared to defend the president, noting that he's dealing with an adversarial news media. The media is salting him every day, Shelby said. I guess he's fighting back. Other lawmakers, however, said they were trying to tune it out. Sen. Ron Johnson R-Wise said he didn't want to talk about the president's tweets because he's trying to stay positive. If you don't have something nice to say nothing at all, Johnson said. The American people need us to be focused on health care and tax reform, not Twitter fights and cable news, Sen. Tim Scott RSC said on Twitter. Former Florida Gov. Jeb Bush, who unsuccessfully ran for president in 2016, summarized Trump's comments in 3 words: inappropriate, undignified, unpresidential.